My brother and my sister, do you want to hear it? God has faves when it comes to ministry, the work of ministry, the work of doing his will. Now, one thing that I realized is that when many preachers are talking about obedience and how, it's good to obey, how your obedience lies, how on the other side of your obedience, there's greatness, there are souls attached. And I've preached about that. I've said that, in fact, my last video, I think that's what I spoke about. But I just really want to clarify something. Number one, the fact that sometimes obeying God does not automatically mean that you will now do great things. It does not automatically mean exponential growth. It does not automatically mean everything will start going well. It does not automatically mean that you will have a 20,000 church member, 50,000, 200,000 member church because you moved from Abuja to Port Harcourt by God's instructions. I know this is a sacred cow, people want to shy away from it, but it is okay to, know that God said something, you obeyed, and you don't see exponential growth. It is okay. The question is, what is growth to you may not be growth to God. So in your own head, it is when you have 20,000 followers. And let me give a very quick analogy. For example, God says, start this particular series, 40 days of following God's will. On one side of my mind, I'm going to be vulnerable here. On one side of my mind is saying, oh, maybe this is how God wants to blow up my channel, or maybe God wants to increase my influence, or maybe there's just something about it. Of course, I know that this year has really been intentional for me and God in my work with God. Maybe there's just something, maybe God is trying to build something. But then on the other side of my mind, I'm telling myself, no, Fadikemi, don't use obedience to God, following God's will, following God's plan for your life as a means to fulfill the lust of your flesh or the desires of your flesh. It's not about that. It's not about the exponential growth. Yes, growth can come. I have seen myself do things that God asked me to do, and the resultant effect blew my mind. But we must be careful not to carry on the mindset that, oh, God has given me an instruction. If I do it, I'll have exponential growth. So that when you don't see exponential growth, you don't start thinking, maybe this God is not really it. Maybe I'm not really serving God. Maybe the God I'm serving is different. Maybe I didn't hear God. Maybe I didn't really do God's instruction, because it will push you to a dangerous place that you don't want to go to. One thing about obedience is that it may not lead to the results that you want it to lead to because you did God's way. Maybe, for example, God says, oh, go and apologize to someone, and you go and apologize, and the person just shuns you like, okay. In your mind, you're like, really? Maybe in your mind, you thought when you go and you say, oh, God said I should tell you sorry, God should tell you love you. You thought the person would be like, oh, thank you so much. The person will hug you. But the person does not give you the reaction that you expected. It does not mean that God did not give you that instruction. It does not mean that God was not in it. It does not mean that God's hand is not still on you, because the purpose of obedience, the purpose of those instructions is to fix your heart. God is making a semblance of himself. God is trying to see himself in you. God is trying to form you, make you, mold you. God is trying to make you holy. And that holiness means separation. What separation means is that it makes you different from other people. God is molding a people out of us as believers. And if we are submitted to the process, we will see change. So it is about our hearts, not about the results that we're getting. Don't base your obedience on the results. Don't start obeying God because because people have said there's something on the other side. I know that man's inherent nature is to look for what is good about it for themselves, be selfish, but don't be that person. So that you're not disappointed, just have it in your mind that, okay, I am following God because God, I want to have a relationship with God. I want to follow God through and through. By the way, I said all of that to say that this was an act of obedience. I am starting this series called 40 Days of Following God's Will as a means of, building a sort of mentorship, like a mentorship, discipleship, whatever name you want to call it. But I think it's more mentorship, with my community on here, trying to build a community around it. But majorly, the reason why I'm doing it is because of God's instruction. Trust me, I have a headache right now. I'm not even feeling okay. but I have to record this video or else it won't go up on the time that it's supposed to go up. So I'm following God's plan. I'm following God's will. I don't know where this will lead us, but yeah, on this journey, we're gonna take a 40 days journey with Jesus and me, talking about how to follow God's will. If you are in that place where you've been thinking, I don't know God's will for my life, I want to follow God's plan, I know God's plan for my life, but I don't really know how to go about it, or you know how to go about it, but you just don't know what to do, or you just need a sister, a friend to work with you, or you just need that person you can relate with, in terms of following God's plan. I'm going to be sharing vulnerable moments, times that I've disobeyed God, times that I did not, follow God's plan, times that I followed God's plan, the results that I got. I'm going to be sharing everything, how to hear God, how to know God's will for your life, how to walk in ministry, everything, all the topics God gives us, we will talk about it. So if you want to go with me on this journey, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you like this video, make sure you hit that notification bell so that every day by 6 p.m., every weekday by 6 p.m., you will get a notification telling you that I've uploaded a new video. So for the next 40 weekdays, we are going to be on a ride. I can't wait. I don't know where this will lead us because I'm so like, God, why? And God's like, do it. I guess there's just that one person that will be blessed by this, and I know that God will do his thing. So that being said, the second thing I want to talk about in terms of obedience is that obedience is a little by little thing. Don't think that God will give you great thing because he loves you or something. Now some people might say God does not have faves, and yes, God does not have faves in terms of salvation, grace, love, but my brother and my sister, do you want to hear it? God has faves when it comes to ministry, the work of ministry, the work of doing his will. He does. Think about it. If it was you, would you give your child that has not managed 100 people, will you give that person 200 people? Will you give that person 5 million people? Yes, God gives capacity, but he will test your capacity. So I feel like every step of obedience, every step of obeying the instruction of God leads to us, unlocking the next step. So don't start praying, oh God, give me nations, God, give me nations. Meanwhile, God said, disciple 10 people. You have refused to do it. You will not be able to defeat Goliath like David if you have not first killed the bear, the lion in the place of isolation when nobody was looking at you. When nobody is looking at you now, are you obeying God? Obedience will cost you something and you have to do it. Do the small things. Do the little instructions. Sometimes those instructions don't lead to anything. God just says, oh, greet somebody, oh, tell someone I love her, give your offering, give this. Now some of us, we're in that baby stage where God is sending people to give us money. At that stage, God cannot give you nations yet. It's when you now get to the stage where God says, give the whole money in your bank, give it to this person, or give it to this, or give 500,000 to this. Then you're not like, okay. God will now be testing your hearts in that moment. If you have gone through obedience, you know that obedience is hard. You have to say the truth. Obedience is hard, but you know that God is making something out of your life. Obedience forms us and brings us, So on that other side of your obedience is the fulfilling reward that, that you're doing what God will have you do. It's amazing, right? So I just really needed to say that as we set the premise for the 40 days following God's will series. I can't wait for this amazing time with every one of you. So please indulge me. Leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me, what topics do you have? What topics do you want to talk about? Maybe it will be aligned with what I want to talk about. And I may even have like a time when I'll do a Q&A with everyone. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Tell me, what is that one time that you've had to obey that was really hard for you, but you did it? Obedience costs a lot, right? Even doing this video right now, it cost me a lot. It cost me. Obedience is hard. Anybody that tells you that it's not hard, it's easy peasy. Person has not really obeyed because our flesh. Anyway, guys, welcome with me on this journey. Remember to subscribe, like, share this video to everyone. Tell them, come on this journey with us. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow, same time by 6 p.m. We will be going live.